Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about how we can manage the administrative units as well as users, right? By using my staff capability or my staff feature, which is a Microsoft Entra feature, right? So that's the one of the feature where we can manage the users, and this capability is really been introduced and useful for the people or the frontline users who are working on fields, who are working on kind of, the on the site where they are going to work on the particular task, or they just need to work on their particular activities. And in that case, we need to enable them to, or enable their respective team members or team leads who can do the basic IT stuff without relying on the IT support or IT teams to reset their passwords, to add their mobile numbers, to change their passwords and everything together, right? So before that, there would be a question, right? So the question is going to be, what is my staff, right? So my staff is allowing the organizations to delete or delegate user management tasks. As I said, resetting the passwords, adding and managing phone numbers for those team members, right? So those can be done by their respective team leads or managers or people who are on their respective site as a kind of supervisory role, where they would be working on or helping their team members, and they don't have to really wait for help desks or IT support teams to reset their passwords and do all other stuff, right? And this can be delegated to their respective managers, right? So that people can, or their managers can take that appropriate activity or actions for them, and it is going to be very useful for them to reduce that time which is going to be reliance or relying on the IT support and IT teams, right? And there are benefits to it, definitely, right? So what are the benefits? So first benefit is going to be, staff can quickly regain their access on their accounts without waiting for IT team to do their task and complete their activities by raising IT support ticket and do all those stuff, right? And then it is also going to improve the efficiency and user experience, right? Why? Because whatever the actions that the field engineers or their respective managers who are going to manage my staff portal for end users, right? Then it is going to simply help them to get the access on their respective applications or portals or whatever they're trying to get. And then it is going to be easy for them to get into the system and start working back. So these are the benefits. Next, I would talk about few of the prerequisites, right? So what are the prerequisites, right? So prerequisites includes Microsoft Entra tenant, which is going to be leveraged for definitely to provide access and everything together, because as soon as their identity is part of Microsoft 365 or Entra, right? Then that is the one of the key requirement. And there is also one more prerequisites, which is going to be authentication policy administrator privilege. So that is for the not the user level, but at least for those roles or those people who are going to work as a supervisory or team lead or manager's roles. And by assigning this role, we would, or they would be able to reset the passwords, change their phone numbers, modify it, add it, delete it, or any actions that they can take on those certain level on the My Staff portal, right? And the next requirement is at least they should have Enter ID as well as 365 licensed for the users, along with, or if any of those, including P1, P2, F1, F3 licenses on the Entra side, right? So at least those or any one of those license is needed for this as a prerequisite, so that this capability is going to be allowed and can be used for the whole organization, right? So yeah, these are the prerequisites. And going forward, I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and enable this feature on a particular group level for all users across the organization, as well as if we don't want it to enable, we can simply turn it off as well, right? And there are certain limitations as well. So I would talk about that later as well. And there is one more capability, how we can protect that my staff portal using conditional access policy as well. So I will show you that in the demo, right? So let's go ahead and start the demoing on it. So let me share my screen quickly here, and I will simply show you so that we can go ahead and do that stuff. All right, let me quickly share it here. All right. So I have shared the screen and I'm on the Entra portal here, right? And from here, you can see that we need to go to Entra or identity section. And here you see user settings. So under user settings, we need to go to, or we need to just scroll down to the end. And here you see user features, right? So under the user features, there's an option for us or a hyperlink called manage user feature settings. Click on it. And once you click on it, you see that we get to see that administrators can access my stuff, right? And there's another option which says users can use preview features of or for my apps. So we are not looking into this now, but at least for now, we are looking for administrators can access my stuff. And that is currently all or set to all for whole organization, but definitely we can enable it and disable it based on our needs. And if we set it to none, that means it is not going to be allowed to anyone across the organization. If we set to selected, then we need to target a specific group where we can leverage that group and allow that particular group of people to access this capability. And if you set it to all, then that means it is accessible to everyone across the organization, right? So this is that one. And once we set it up, it is going to be simply enabled. So let's say I have selected it to all and I'll save it. So this is saved, you can see. And once it is saved, it is going to be enabled for us. So this is pretty easy and straightforward to enable it, right? And once we enable it, that means it is going to be enabled for the organizations as well as the people who are going to be managing those accounts on the My Stuff portal, right? So this is the one of the side where we would be doing that one, right? So once we enable it, that means it is enabled for us, right? So now I'm going to show you the staff or My Staff portal, right? Which is going to be or how it looks like, right? So let's go ahead and do that quickly here. All right. So here you can see I have shared My Staff portal. Here you can see at the top URL says mystaff.on.microsoft.com, right? And here we see the branding of the organization and then My Staff section here, and I can click on it as well. And if I click it, it is going to simply redirect or refresh. And you can see the other tabs which are a part of my account, my apps, my groups, and my access levels, right? But definitely in this specific video, I'm going to basically talk about the my stuff. And you can see these are the OUs, not OUs exactly, but in Entra context, those are the administrative units called as AUs or AU, right? Where we can create those AUs and add users, groups, and then devices, right? And then we can manage those with a limitation or limited permissions and particular scopes that we wanted to target across the organization, instead focusing on or giving complete privilege to manage those resources, right? So let's say I have uh, help desk group here, you can see, and if I click on it, you will see the number of users in it, right? And if I wanted to change or reset the password for this user, you can see that I get an option which is reset password or add phone number. So let's say I click on reset password, I will click on continue button here. And once I click on continue, it is going to just load it for myself to reset the password because I, as a user, perfect. So password is reset now. Here you can see the alphanumeric value for that particular user account. And I can simply copy it. And then once I copy it, I can share this password with this user, right? And once I share it, that means user would be able to use that password. Similarly, I can also add the phone number for this user. Let's say I will add number here. So I'm going to put some random numbers here. Definitely not the number here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so these are the two extra. So perfect. So now once I add numbers, that is going to be added number for this user. So you can see that this user has a number now. And once we add it, we have options to remove this phone number as well as we have option to edit this phone number if in case we don't want to keep this number, right? Or maybe change the number for this user account, right? So this way we can simply go ahead and modify those attributes or those things as a supervisor or as a delegated task, and these tasks cannot be held back because of the IT team is not available due to time constraints or time issues or availability of all of that stuff, right? Because this is something which is very basic and we can achieve this by using my stuff capabilities very easily, right? So this is one of the things that is really be helpful here and can be managed effectively, right? And we really don't have to rely on IT team or IT support to handle these kind of activities at all, right? And we can manage this basic stuff for those users. So yeah, that is something I wanted to show you. And also I wanted to show you another stuff that how we can protect this portal. Protect as an only is accessible to the particular group of users, right? We don't want this portal to be accessible to everyone, right? Maybe if people don't have access or appropriate level of roles assigned, they won't be able to access it definitely, but still we wanted to make sure it has the appropriate two-factor authentication setup, right? And that can be set up using the conditional access policies as well, right? So I'm going to share the screen again, and then I will simply show you how we can go about it, right? So just a moment here. So by creating conditional access policies, definitely it is going to be secured portal and it is going to enforce the two-factor authentication on those accounts so that they can authenticate themselves and they can also make sure the portal is appropriately or the portal is accessible only to those respective people. All right. So let's share the screen again. All right. So here I'm on Entra portal again, right? And go to conditional access under the protection section. Then click on policies. And once I click on the policies, you can see we are in conditional access blade. So here we are going to create a brand new policy, which is going to simply uh, create for protecting our my staff portal, right? So I'll simply name it my staff portal, or I'll simply give it a name or naming convention as a CA my staff portal, right? So from here I can target all users or specific a group of users. So those would be targeted or part of this policy. So for now, I'll simply select all users and then target resources, right? So if I to select the target resources, I can select either all apps or I can simply select the respected application. Let's say I have to select only my stuff. So I'll simply search for my stuff here. And you can see that my stuff is sort of here. So this is that application which we are going to add, right? And then this is going to be added. So let's add it because I just wanted to target only this particular application in this case. And then we can take the further steps, whether we wanted to target on basic or specific network level or something like that. And we can go ahead and add any conditions based on the, again, requirement with user risks, sign-in risks, insider risks, device platforms, locations, client applications. And then definitely this should be something we don't want to enable on legacy authentication clients. So we'll keep it on modern one. And then if in case we wanted to add filters for devices, if only wanted to allow access on managed devices, then we can do that. And if we don't want on personal devices, we would simply be blocking it, right? And furthermore, we can go to grant section here under access controls. Definitely we wanted to grant with multi-factor authentication. So whoever is going to access and try to access, they should also authenticate themselves with multi-factor authentication, and then they should be able to access it. We can also enforce the terms of use policy if in case we wanted to enforce. So I have already created that one. That is why it is showing up here under the grant section, and we can enforce that as well, right? So, and there are other bunch of options that we wanted to target basis on the requirements and needs of our policy and the scope of access of this policy or the application altogether. So this way we can make sure it is going to be accessible and people have right set of permissions to do their job, right? So let's select it. And on the sessions, we really don't need to do anything here. And again, depend on our requirements, whether we wanted to sessionize this application's usage based on sign-in frequency, persistent browser sessions, customization, continuous access evaluations, and other bunch of options here too. And then we can take it as per that requirements. And towards the end of this, here we have options to enable this policy. So we can enable it or turn it on or off as per our need. Or if we are not sure what this policy is going to do or how it is going to impact the usage, and then what would be the user experience, we can keep it on report only mode for now, and we can monitor it for a while. And upon that, we can go ahead and turn it on, right? So we would get to see what would be the impact of it, and then how people would be facing, if there are any issues that they would be facing, and we should be good upon seeing everything together. So the policy is ready. I'll simply go ahead and create this one. So policy is being created. You can see at the top right. Perfect. So policy is created. So I'll simply see my stuff. So here's the policy. And currently it is on report only mode. That means it is not fully turned on. So we can go ahead and see the actions or whatever the experience would be on the access levels across the organization, and then we can take it further from there, right? So yeah, this is how we can protect that portal, as well as we can enforce the user authentications, right? And then we can make sure who is trying to access it, who has accessed it, whether it is internal user, external user, or maybe unknown. So won't try to access that portal, because as soon as this URL or this portal is publicly available, almost every URL is publicly accessible. But as soon as there is identity to the respective tenant, that means it is going to be accessible at certain level, or people would try to access it, even if it is not accessible to those people at all, right? So yeah, that is all. And also, I wanted to talk more about the limitations of this, right? So, and additional features. So additional features includes using the search bar to quickly find their respective administrative units and users, and those can be managed and used effectively to reduce the time, as well as those can be used effectively, right? And also there is audit log capability, which we can track all the actions taken by my staff or my staff portal, right? And those can be logged into the Entra admin portal, right? So those are the additional features that we can leverage for. And there are some limitations as I was talking about, right? So my staff currently supports up to 999 users per administrative units, right, at this moment. So that's the one of the limitation of this capability. And going forward, it may be increased, or it totally depends on how this features or capability is being adopted across the organizations by different companies and organizations, right? And then maybe there would be such a request where people and companies would be expecting that feature limitations should be revoked or maybe extended furthermore, right? So yeah, that is all for this video. And towards end of this video, I wanted to just talk about the steps that we have taken in this video, includes the how we can delegate the user management tasks, right? And which is going to be efficient, and it is going to secure with conditional access policies, and we can track out all the changes using audit logs as well, right? And yep, so that's all for this video, and hope you will like it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon too, right? And get notified for the new tips and tricks and more videos on different topics, right? And yeah, that's all for this video. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.